Hello, my name is Kyla Denny and welcome to my research project for thermographic glitter printing. Thermography, also known as raised printing, is a post-printing process in which traditional offset printing techniques are combined with thermal printing methods to create a raised textured finish on the surface of a substrate. It is considered an efficient and cost-effective alternative to relief and engraving methods. This makes it widely used in the printing industry for various applications, the most common of these being for gift wrapping, greeting cards, business cards, letterheads, wedding invitations, and braille. Thermography glitter printing is simply a variation of traditional thermography printing. Since it contains grains of glitter within the powder, the final product appears more metallic and sparkly in appearance. The process. Before entering the thermographic machine, slow-drying ink is applied to selected areas of a surface using offset printing. The substrate is then transferred to the thermography machine either by a conveyor belt or by hand. The paper enters the thermographic machine and glittery powder is applied to the surface of the substrate. This powder is made from plastic resin. It coats the surface of the print and sticks to still wet ink. Excess powder is then removed from the surface of the paper, leaving only the inked parts which are coated in powder ready for the final stage. This process is most often done with a vacuum-like machine or a machine that uses the combination of vibrations with a conveyor belt and runners to allow excess powder to run off into a sump which is recycled for other prints. The product is then passed through a radiant oven that reaches temperatures between 900 and 1300 degrees Celsius for 2 to 3 seconds. This heat causes the powder-coated elements to melt and transform until they look shiny and raised. As soon as the product leaves the heating unit, the raised ink starts cooling. Some thermographic machines will have a specific cooling unit to ensure the design is kept clean. The product is then deposited into a paper tray ready to be cut. Tools and materials. There are two types of thermography machines. Tabletop models were developed in the 1970s and mostly involve manual operations to create the thermographic print. These printing machines are quite time-consuming and are less economical than more modern thermography machines. Floor models are fully automated machines and are attached to and synchronized with press equipment to eliminate manual procedures. Slow-drying inks or pigment inks are used for thermography printing as they have little to no drying properties. The ink should always be sticky when entering the thermography machine, as this is what allows the powdered resin to adhere to the surface of the print. Thermographic powders are made from plastic resins. There are a range of thermographic powders available, including metallic, resin, glitter, and more. These different powders produce a variety of aesthetics. The different types of powders can come in different granulation sizes, ranging from fine to coarse, and a choice of finishes including semi-dull, dull, matte, semi-gloss, gloss are also available. Some paper stocks are not appropriate to use for thermography due to the high temperatures required in the heating stage. Paper stock must need to withstand at least 900 degrees Celsius in order to work properly. When choosing paper for thermography, it's important to consider the paper weight, moisture content, color, and texture, as this can affect the printing outcome. Here is some thermography printing terminology. Some advantages is that it adds a new dimension to the design. It comes out dry, so cutting can occur immediately. It can be completed on many paper stocks excluding coated paper stocks, and it's a cheaper alternative to engraving and embossing. Some disadvantages is that damp paper can cause curling, burning, or fires. Humidity can cause curling. Raised ink cannot pass a fold or bleed line, as this would lead to cracking when folded or cut, and it can only be applied to one side of a paper. When setting up a document for thermographic printing, it's important to make sure that the color settings of your document are set to CMYK and that there are two layers specific to the printing types, one for CMYK and one for thermography. Everything on the thermography layer needs to be 100% black. It's important to make sure that all thermographic printing only applies to one side of the design and that 3 mm of margin and 3 mm of bleed is given to the edges of each side of the document. Make sure that you export all layers separately as their own PDF and allow for bleed and trim marks. I've designed a bookmark for the Museum of Broken Relationships event within the 2019 Melbourne Writers' Festival. This bookmark is to be given to any attendees to inform them of the event and intrigue people to get involved. This is the front and back design of the CMYK print. As you can see, I've used the logo for the front and a few design elements with the information on the back. This PDF shows that the thermography is only applied to the front in a glittery thermography that overlaps the logo. Thank you for listening.